breakfast. That's why they stopping food stamps. Because this live in 76105, which nobody in this area make over $5,000 a year. What the fuck is this 76105 food stamp card doing over here in 76120 in these $300,000 houses? She sold them to her auntie. So the auntie got the food stamp card over here in this high tax area where nobody should be getting food stamps. They running the card up. That's why they think poor people is eating lobster and steak, because they selling the food stamp. Now when they get the card back, her and her kid might just got all microwave food. So this mother kid, whole life until he's damn near grown, is completely reliant upon him eating at school, at least breakfast and lunch. Sometimes the bitch might not wake up early enough to get him to lunch. These are those kids.
U.S. Capitol on this Friday evening, 5:19 in the nation's capital. Let's talk about SNAP benefits. Of course, the government shutdown is over, but questions surrounding SNAP benefits are still persisting. The Trump administration is saying that it will require millions of low-income people to reapply for food stamps as part of an effort to crack down on fraud. Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins telling Newsmax that she plans to have everyone reapply for their benefits, but for now it's unclear when or how people would need to reapply. Grace Yarrow standing by. She's a food and agriculture policy reporter for Politico, and she's the author of Politico Pro's daily morning agriculture newsletter. I think my main question here is, what kind of fraud are they talking about?
Yeah, thanks for having me on. So it's not 100% clear exactly what the secretary is planning to do yet. We haven't heard back from USDA when we sent them an email to request more details. Because SNAP participants are already required to recertify their application information every 6 to 12 months. And they're also required to update work history, income, et cetera, to make sure that they're still qualifying for SNAP along the way, or they'll get kicked off the program. So a lot of the fraud that Republicans, including Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins, are talking about is cracking down on folks receiving SNAP who aren't working. Or what Secretary Rollins has said is she wants to make sure, and the president said earlier this week, is that the administration wants to make sure that the folks who are receiving SNAP benefits are those who truly need it, in their words. So Republicans have already sought to crack down on error payments, which are just miscalculations from SNAP administrators, et cetera. So we have to stay tuned and figure out exactly what the department is planning on this.
All right, shalom, shalom, shalom. All praises to the Most High. Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, which is to say in the Paleo Hebrew, Yahweh, which is the name of our Heavenly Father, meaning He is. Bahashem, which means in the name. Yahweh Shai, which means He is our salvation. And those are the names of who the world ignorantly calls God, the Heavenly Father, and Jesus, His only begotten Son. All right? Now it's starting to become more clear. It's starting to become more clearer and clearer as the days go on, just exactly what the outcome they was looking for with this government shutdown, or one of the outcomes what they were looking for. And that's what? Verification of who's supposed to be getting what. All right. Now the clip that you saw to start with was of, the internet sensation that goes by the name of Charleston White, all right, laying out a scenario of how EBT cards are being used in different area codes, and they're not aligning up with that individual who it was given to, all right? Showing you that like one person is using the EBT card in a whole nother zone, and that person is in a exclusive neighborhood which doesn't need SNAP or EBT, and buying lobster and steak and things of that magnitude, while the other person is in using the EBT card, all right? So this Trump administration is saying that you're going to have to reapply for your SNAP, your EBT, and more than likely, you're going to have to get some type of, wallet, a digital wallet, to show that that indeed is who that SNAP benefit is going to, all right? because you're going to be the only one that use that SNAP EBT. And if it's anyone else, you're going to risk the chance of getting arrested for fraud or lose your SNAP benefits altogether. All right. So a digital wallet is looking like the solution to this. Okay. This is the Hill, and it reads, the USDA head says everyone, not some, everyone on SNAP will now have to reapply. All right. And you got to ask yourself, they make you reapply every 6 months to 12 months to make sure you are who you are and that you are alive, because you had a lot of people that were on SNAP that weren't alive, that were still receiving SNAP benefits. Okay. So that's a knock on that state, government, because they're not keeping up the tab with their SNAP benefits or their SNAP recipients. Okay. So this could be the restart that the desirable outcome, which was, looking to get. All right. Now what? Now everyone has to reapply, and not just reapply, but have proof. Okay. So now you're going to have a digital wallet or some type of form of electronic digital, app or something where you will be tallied or tracked to see whether or not you're spending your SNAP, okay? And not giving it to someone else, all right? Because it may just be for your device, your phone or whatever, all right? And you can't give it to someone else. They may give you a government issue app where this is completely for the government, and you have to download it on your phone, and that app, that sign in, that login is specifically given to you and no one else. And if you give it to someone else, both of you risk the chance of getting caught and going to jail for defrauding the government or losing your benefits altogether. It says, Agriculture Secretary Brooke Rollins on Thursday said the Trump administration is planning to have all supplemental nutritional assistance program beneficiaries reapply for the program due to alleged fraud. The secretary said after receiving data on SNAP recipients from 29 red states that 186,000 deceased men and women and children in this country are receiving a check. See? So they can easily keep everything up to date with a digital tracking system, okay? Because if it's put into the system that person is no longer alive, then they could just automatically remove that person's SNAP, that benefits from off that card or from off that application or app or whatever they're going to put it on. It says, can you imagine when we get our hands on the blue state data? What we're going to find? She asked during a Thursday appearance on Newsmax, Rob Smith Tonight. It's going to give us a platform and a trajectory to fundamentally rebuild this program. See? So they got partial of the outcome what they were looking for, all right? They shut the government down. It resetted it, all right? And it's not just going to stop with SNAP. It's going to go pretty much Section 8, all right? All of this is going to be put on digital, wallets, okay? You're going to have to download a digital wallet, all right? And no longer will you be able to say, I can't. They're going to give you a probably more than likely a government issue phone. See? Because, hey, everybody got a phone nowadays, so you won't have no excuse. So it says it's going to give us a platform and a trajectory to fundamentally rebuild this program. Have everyone reapply for their benefits. Make sure that everyone that's taking a taxpayer-funded benefit through SNAP or food stamps, that they literally are vulnerable and they can survive, and they can't survive without it, she added. Every state has a periodic recertification process that requires SNAP or food stamp recipients to update their whereabouts and earnings. See? But that period that they can go through for 6 months or 12 months, a year, they can defraud the system. So how much more if you have a digital wallet or something that's tracking all your spending habits with this EBT, this SNAP benefit program, that now they can see whether or not you're really disabled or you're really defrauding the system, okay? It says every state has a periodic recertification process that requires SNAP or food stamp recipients to update their whereabouts and earnings. See? According to the Department of Agriculture, USDA, most municipalities require update data every 6 to 12 months. See? This is why they're going to get rid of the cash. They just got rid of the penny yesterday. They're going to get rid of the nickel. They're going to get rid of the dime. They're going to get rid of the quarter. They're going to get rid of the dollars. Everything is going to be all traceable on that digital ID, that digital wallet, all right? And it's going to eventually go into the microchip, okay? Because they tired of, having to waste money for people defrauding the system, okay? So this administration is going to crack down on it, and more than likely, they're going to be the one that introduce the mark of the beast, Abaratazar, Father Will, okay? So this is where we at now. We see that this government shutdown that lasted, they saying, for 43 days, served more than just what you thought or I thought the purpose was, but they got it nevertheless, and they could actually get ready to shut it down again January 30th, 2026. Okay, so we got to continue to watch, all right, because these people, they're not out of the fire yet, all right. They got a brief moment, and hey, they got to reapply for their benefits, all right? And then Section 8, HUD, it's on the chopping block next, okay? So let's get a couple of precepts and close out. So this is the book of 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 1. It reads, "But of the times and of the seasons, brethren, you have no need that I write unto you." Why? Verse 2, "For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape." See? So they're giving you the illusion or the idea that the government is open and everything is going to go back to normal and you're going to get your full SNAP benefits for the month of November, and they ain't telling you about December, okay? They giving TSA employees up to $10,000 bonuses. They floating the idea of giving every American that makes under a certain amount of money up to $2,000 of a dividend check. See, all while not telling you that how are you going to receive that, or how are you going to have to sign up to get that to show if you really want it, all right? Because they getting ready to do away with checks and paper and things of that magnitude. They want to trace and track everything, all right? It's easier to tax that away. It says, verse 4, "But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that day shall overtake you as a thief." See, because why? We're watching. We see the desirable outcome that they're looking for. They want to get everybody walking into the digital way, all right? That government, the longest one in U.S. history, is potentially what's going to reset this whole financial sector, all right? And potentially or eventually turn it to go digital, completely digital, all right? It says, "But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that day shall overtake you as a thief." Because we're watching. We see the signs, all right? We know what's coming. All right, we understand what the mark of the beast is. We know how they have to implement it, okay? They have to make it so that you won't have any other choice. But they're not going to force it on you. But in order for you to receive your benefits, in order for you to use the grid, you're going to have to take the what? The microchip, all right? It says, Ye are all the children of light and the children of the day. We are not of the night, nor of darkness. Therefore, let us not sleep. See? So we on our watchtower constantly looking for any and everything that poses a threat. Okay? And we got to sound the alarm, all right? Let our people know that, hey, this devil is getting ready to make that move. Okay? He's getting ready to take all your benefits, everything you thought you knew that you relied on, and you thought that you in somehow, shape, or form or capacity was getting it on your own. He's going to strip it from you, all right? Now, it ain't going to be too hard for those that rely on the system itself already, but for those that think that they're independent, for those that think that they, build this wealth on their own, hey, we going to see something that's going to, shake even them up. Maybe an outage, a blackout, something that's going to attack the infrastructure where they can then be justified in bringing it back up online, all digital. So we just have to continue to wait and be patient, all right? Wait on the Lord, okay? It says, verse 6, therefore let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. And that's what we're doing. We're on our watchtower, constantly looking, scouring the internet, trying to read articles, looking for articles, videos, whatever we can do to continue to do the work, all right? It says, for they that sleep, sleep in the night, and they that be drunken are drunken in the night, right? So our people, the 2/3, they don't have any idea what's going on. As long as they can get their SNAP benefits, as long as they can get to grandma's for Thanksgiving and Annie for Christmas and go out and drink and have a good time on New Year's Eve, they don't care, man. All right? They don't care about what's to come because why? They don't have faith. They don't believe, all right? They don't ever see this place, Babylon the Great, the United States of America, falling down or coming to an end, all right? But it's going to come and it's going to fall very fast, all right? Once the missiles come, it's going to be it, man. That's it. It's over with, all right? But see, we sounding the alarm and blowing the horn in Zion before then to let those that would take heed know that something big is getting ready to happen, all right? Everything is being put into place for that specific reason, okay? So let's go ahead and close out. 1 Peter 5:8. It says, be sober, be vigilant. See, we can't tell you exactly how it's going to happen. What we can tell you is going to happen. And through the signs and us measuring the time diligently, we can tell you that it's going to happen this lifetime and very soon. All right. Not no 50 years from now when you done got a mortgage and you thought you done paid it off. No, it's going to happen very soon. All right. As it says, our salvation is nearer than what we believe. Okay? What is that? Romans 13:11. It says, in that knowing the time, that now it is high time to awake out of sleep. Why? For now is our salvation nearer than when we believe. Right? Yahweh Shai is getting ready to come, man. All right? No man know the hour. No, not the angels, but only the Father, Yahweh, all right? And he gave us the signs to look for, all right? And those signs are showing up more regularly or frequently, so we know something's getting ready to happen, all right? Yahweh Shai is on his way. So back to 1 Peter 5:8, it reads, be sober, be vigilant. So you're not supposed to be drunken. You're not supposed to be asleep. You're supposed to be out doing the work, okay? It says, why? Because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about seeking whom he may devour. See? This is why you got to constantly be on the lookout, man, because you got to watch for them lions, all right? Specifically that lion, that devouring lion, all right? Esau Edom, the so-called white man, the self-proclaimed white man. Because why? He's getting ready to come down with that great wrath, Revelation 12:12, okay? So he's setting his pieces in place. He's getting everything in order. And when it happens, it's going to happen to catch our people off guard, but not just our people, but the rest of the nations as well. All right. But see, we're not going to be as those that sleep because why? We're measuring time diligently. All right. We're doing what's required and asked of us. So when that day comes it won't catch us off guard, all right? And when it comes, we'll be prepared, all right? And we'll have a advocator on our side, on our behalf, mediating for us, all right? Who? Yahweh Shai, okay? So we just got to continue to, fight the good fight and continue to watch, all right? And sound the alarm in Zion when you see something, all right? You see something, you say something, all right? So we're going to close on that note. With that being said, pray someone was edified through this lesson. And until the next time, if it be the Lord's will, stay strong, stay in the faith. We're almost home. Shalom. Peace.